is Let's Talk Brand and Business, a platform specially created to host technocrats, leaders, and industry authorities within the marketing, communications, and business community. My name is Shina, Iteade, your host on this special segment. In the fast-paced world of business, public relations can be the key to standing out or fading into obscurity. Your brand story is its most valuable asset, and mastering the art of telling that story in a way that captivates and inspires is where public relations truly shines. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome a true luminary in this field with over 20 years of experience and a track record of crafting hundreds of compelling brand stories through numerous PR campaigns. My guest is undeniably a leading authority in perception management here in Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. Please join me in welcoming Mr. John Ehiguese, Group CEO, Mediacraft Associates. It's an honor to have you on this show, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Now let's talk brand and business. With the rise of digital marketing and citizen journalism, in your view, how has the media landscape shifted, and what implication does this have for traditional PR strategies that firms like Mediacraft used to rely on?
Well, obviously, digital technology has changed the landscape significantly. Whereas in the old days, we used to have just linear communication, with the audiences.
Yeah.
Right now, with the advent of social media, especially digital media, especially social media, you have the opportunity to engage. So it's not just a linear communication, but there's also a two-way communication. So there's engagement also. Also, because of the internet and the mobile phone, you are now also a publisher by rights, in your own rights. So what that means is that everybody is now a publisher. You can see an event, a newsworthy event, and on your phone, record it and transmit immediately to the online, to the internet. That is a publisher. That's publishing. So these things have all changed the landscape of PR. Now, you no longer have a traditional media campaign only. You have to have an integrated campaign, digital and traditional media combined. That's effective campaign now, the way it is now. So that's the situation right now.
How well have you now adapted? I mean, some industry critics believe firms like yours, you've been around for over 20 years, you might be out of vogue or out of date. Are you able to cope with the demands of
part
this?
Part of our staying power is adaptability. You have to adapt. What we have done is that we respond to the changing technological landscape. You have to do that to remain in business, because we work for some of the biggest brands, as you well know. For example, Stanbic IBTC, the entire group we work for, and InterSwitch too, and other firms like that. So you have to adapt. So we have to develop competencies in digital marketing also. PR is no longer monolithic. It's no longer monolithic. You have to adapt. So that's the situation.
So you're saying you're still in the business and you're well able to manage the transition over the year.
We have to. It's inevitable. We have a fully staffed digital marketing department now that is fully staffed, because clients require all kinds of support. We have to. We pride ourselves in being a full service PR agency, so we have to adapt with all those service offerings.
There are some notable PR agencies who we used to know, I won't mention names, but few years ago, but we can't really, they seem not to be would you say this is responsible for?
A lot of factors could be responsible. The environment is quite challenging, so, survival is a function of so many things. Survival thriving in this environment is a function of so many things. It may not just be adaptability, maybe capital, maybe they don't have businesses anymore, but all kinds of things, or maybe management, challenges, So I can't put a finger on what is wrong with those people, but we're still in business, and that's what's important to me.
PR firms often play a vital role in handling corporate scandals. How many scandals have you been able to manage in the last few decades that you've been around? Would you like to share some?
I would like to use the word scandal. Maybe you should use crisis.
Okay, crisis management.
There is a popular saying there are only two kinds of organizations: the ones that have had crisis and the ones that are going to have crisis, because crisis is inevitable. Part of our service offering is to also manage crisis. Luckily, we have affiliates with Flash Mahilat Global Network, which is top 3 in the world, and we have access to their crisis management playbook. So there are tools and resource materials that help us with managing crisis. So it's a part of our offering, service offering to our clients. So when they run into crisis, and crisis these days is peculiar. Crisis begins at the rate of Twitter. Crisis at the rate of Twitter right now. So in 5 minutes on Twitter, you can damage your brand that you have spent 100 years to build, brand image, reputation that you spent 100 years to build. In 5 minutes, can be damaged on Twitter. So we have to respond accordingly. So what I will not particularly mention, some case studies because I have to protect my clients, but suffice to say that we have a number of crises that we are managing. It's part of the menu, So it's part of the menu for us, So, and like I said, part of the challenge with crisis management is listening first. You have to listen. You have to listen to what conversations, especially online, and report those things. We have what you call the adverse news prompts in this organization. That is, if any client or retainer with us, if an adverse report comes out on the internet, within 1 hour, we'll let you know. So you can decide how you want to approach it, how you want to mitigate the crisis. Either we'll issue a holding statement, or you'll begin a campaign to neutralize the crisis.
Is this one of your service offerings to your clients?
Yes, it's standard offerings. Crisis management. Crisis management is standard offering. So that's part of what. So it starts from listening, so you can prompt the client when there's adverse, publicity or adverse mentions, and then proceed to draw up a plan to respond to that. Depending on the severity of the crisis, you now develop a plan to respond to it, and what you call recovery, repetition recovery.
All right, sir. If Erisco was your client, I mean, we heard about the story.
Probably not.
How would you have handled the tomato review, crisis, not scandal?
Well, it's hypothetical.
A whole lot of conversation came up then that, where the PR agencies.
Obviously, you have a PR agency. You didn't have a competent PR agency. It would have gotten that bad, because it was actually a function of how you responded to it. What was the situation? A client, a customer wrote a report, wrote a comment on your product, wrote an assessment of your product online, and you went all out. You don't need that. That's valuable feedback on base level, on face value. That's valuable feedback. Now, as a PR person, I will sit down and say, this is feedback from a customer. How do I deal with it? Maybe positive, maybe negative, but you have to look at the ramifications. What are the implications of? You have to have a plan. That's what it's called strategic PR. You have to have a plan to deal with that situation. What are the issues? What are the potential damage to your reputation? And what are the possible scenarios that you can look at in responding to it? So that's what he didn't do, obviously. And now he's damaged his brand completely. I hate to say that, but he's damaged his brand. But I wish he had professional help. Because otherwise the thing would have escalated to that level in the first place.
And that brings me to another question that just popped up now. How much value do you think the public relations profession holds to the growth of a brand?
I'll throw the question back to you. What's your reputation worth? What's your reputation worth? That's the answer to your question. Reputation is everything. The reason why I would buy your brand and not buy the other brand is because I know that you have a reputation. People buy brands. They don't buy a business. They buy a brand. You know what the brand is? A brand is a book of promises. So if I buy a Mercedes, for example, I have the promise that I get good quality engineering, top level engineering. If I buy a BMW, the same thing. If I buy a Lexus, same thing. So that is the promise that drives brand purchase, brand choice. So, and this is also rooted in reputation. So the way you are seen is the way trying to respond to you. So if you have a solid reputation, it goes without saying that you have, in theory, good patronage and your business will thrive.
Quackery has been a significant concern in PR industry, and here in Nigeria we keep talking about this every day. PR cans, that's the Public Relations Consultancy for Nigeria, are the frameworks, for managing these issues merely superficial. A whole lot seems to be said, but critics feel actions and results are not really, matching up. Well, every year we keep...
The reference you made to PR is interesting, but keep in mind that I'm no longer president.
Exactly.
I'm the immediate past president.
Used to be president of the association.
But quackery is an issue in our business. And quackery is at two levels. First of all, the level of ignorance. There are some people that are just not rooted enough in the business that have that in the business, if you know what I mean. And there are also some people that have a specialty in a particular aspect of the business and claim to be PR people. For example, influencers. We use influencers a lot in our campaigns now. Influencer marketing, influencers. So it's easy for some influencer to think that just because you are working for a PR firm or work with PR firms, you are not a PR consultant. Ditto journalists. So the journalist is not a PR professional. They are biased apart. Yes, conventionally is a natural transition for journalists to PR, but that does not mean that it's the same thing. And I have a lot of journalists here. When I employed them, after 3 months, I called them and said, look, what is your experience like? They said, we didn't know it was like this. We thought we were new PR. Just because you work with journalists doesn't mean journalist is a PR person. Their minds are parts, their minds are parts. Because what you do in PR is that you study the publics of the branch. That's what the public in public relations is. Not public in the general sense. It's a technical expression. Public is these different stakeholder groups that affect the brand or that are affected by the brand. That is the public. So with each of these stakeholder groups, you have relationships with them. That's what's called public relations. That's what PR is. So it's not just the general public as we know it. So it is this, first of all, you have to identify these publics and you have to craft communication on a regular basis because you're always communicating with them. And the messaging shifts from occasion to occasion or a circumstance to circumstance. So it varies with situations and circumstances. And that is the whole essence of PR. So you need to have a fundamental understanding of PR to be able to practice PR and know the rudiments. You have to be trained in PR to know the rudiments. So a lot of people jump into this thing just because they think they are journalists and they think that and the politicians don't help matters at all. So they recruit journalists and call them PR people. So they get excited and think that they are running PR. That's why some of them got into trouble because you don't have professional help. And this is a body of knowledge that is specialized. It's not just a no-commerce affair. That's what we need to, to campaign. So in terms of regulation, yes, because of the way Nigeria is now, you don't need to establish a business to have PR briefs. All you have to do is know somebody who gives you a brief and maybe mobilizes you, and you go and do whatever it is you want to do, and get a couple of articles in newspapers and think that you've done your job.
But that's not supposed to be so for a noble profession.
That's what's happening. You can't try this kind of thing in Nigeria. In South Africa, for example, you can't try the kind of thing we do in Nigeria here. You can't be a journalist and call yourself a PR person at the same time. It's not acceptable. There are two different worlds apart. Yes, journalism will be a transition to a career in PR, but that's not the same thing. And so when you move from journalism to PR, you have to unlearn your journalism bits and relearn PR practices, PR strategy and theory. So that's the challenge. So we have a problem with quackery. Unfortunately, some of the quacks make a lot of money, more money than us perhaps, because they have political connections and so on, and they get the juicy briefs. Forget whether they are effective or not. That's not the point. But the people who give them the briefs don't even care whether they perform. They just have other objectives, for giving them the business. So that is a function. Unfortunately, the statutory regulation is not stiff, it's not strong right now, because NIPR, Nigeria is supposed to regulate the PR industry, but they're not doing enough. We resort to self-help, self-regulation, like PR can did. We regulate ourselves and try, but there's so much that you can do with that.
But what are the proposed solutions? I mean, you've been a stakeholder in this industry. And
we keep educating the clients, especially. Don't give your briefs to quacks. You investigate the person you're going to give your brief to. Find out that does he have a structure, does he have a competence, and then you discuss with him moving forward. And we are seeing some progress. Right now, the boys are being separated from the men in the matter of speaking. So right now, serious clients will not just go to anybody as a PR consultant. No, that's changing. And that's why you see some of the major organizations, contract solid PR firms. That's why in business.
But why would the potential clients, like you said, in one of your interviews, I guess you said almost you can rate about 50% of the brief going to within the Nigerian ecosystem going to quacks instead of real professionals.
That's because they don't get the jobs for the right reasons.
But why would the potential clients with PR need choose?
Because he doesn't know better. Most times he doesn't know better.
Are you sure the journalists are not offering something better than
Maybe what their understanding of PR is limited. Their understanding of PR is just get a couple of articles in the papers, which anybody can do. That's not PR. That's not the real PR. PR is strategic communications. You have to map out your strategy. You have to identify your target audience and craft a strategy or messaging for each of the audiences. That's a strategic work. That's why PR people in US corporations occupy a vice presidential position, because they know that any mistake at that department could cost the brand. It's essentially could cost the brand a lot. So that's why people that know take it seriously. People that don't know suffer it for it. But we can't help ourselves.
Now, sir, as we look ahead, what emerging trends and innovation do you anticipate will transform the PR industry, and how can PR professionals adapt and prepare to stay ahead of these changes and continue leading in this ever-evolving field?
The most important thing is technology. As technology changes, it affects the job that we do. I'm sure you've heard of ChatGPT, for example, that you can use to draft a press release, and there are also tools for design, even graphic designs now. So technology, obviously, we have to incorporate technology in what we do. In fact, I envisage that in the next 5 years, for example, a lot of the work that we do will be obsolete. It will be done by the computer, and ChatGPT and technology, software. So, for example, tracking, for example, is becoming, media tracking is becoming computerized, and also some of the jobs that we do also, even designs, like I said. So technology is the single most important factor. Also, convergence of technology, media convergence. For example, if you have a website now, you can have both on the website, you can have a radio station, a TV station, a newspaper on a single website. So these are two factors: technology and convergence, media convergence. These are the factors that affect our jobs.
On a final note, sir, what are your advice, or what are the key points? You've spent a few decades, over 2 decades, running this great brand, Mediacraft. What would be your message to other PR firms that would love to stay thriving in these very challenging times?
Raise your game, because it's an increasingly competitive world. you have to stay competitive. You have to raise your game and stay focused. Stay focused. What kind of clients do you want to work for? What would you like to be known for as a PR firm? What would you like to be known for? Would you like to be known for doing deals? Or would you like to be known for providing quality service? So these are the things that stay focused and aim up your game and respond to the environments, and keep learning. Now, for an individual level, you have to keep learning because PR is not static. You have to be jack of all trades and master of all, in the manner of speaking.
All right, this is where we draw the curtain on this edition of Let's Talk Brand and Business. It's an honor having you on this show.
Pleasure is mine.
Amidst a dynamic world propelled by innovation and influence, where branding defines success and communication is key, we bring you Brand and Business News on TV, your gateway to the latest in marketing strategies, branding trends, and business insights. Join us every Thursday evening as we explore the forefront of business innovation and consumer trends. From exclusive events coverage to insightful consumer feedback, Brand and Business News on TV is where brand stories meet its audience. Don't miss out. Join the conversation. Partner with us today and elevate your brand's impact. For event coverage, partnership, and advertising opportunities, contact us now on www.bbnewstv.com or call +234 7037 529494. That is +234 7037 529494. Brand and Business News on TV, shaping the future of business, brands, and marketing, one story at a time.